without further ado, I want to introduce Darlene. Darlene Killen is a Salesforce Administrator 1, and she is with Extra Hop here in the US. And Darlene, I just wanted to say hello and ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about where you work right now.
Hi, everybody. My name is Darlene, and I am a entry-level Salesforce Administrator with Extra Hop Network, Inc. They are a cybersecurity company that screens e-commerce sites for possible threats to like viral and break-ins and all of that kind of stuff. Whenever you hear on the news that there's been a security breach of information, my company is one of those that makes sure that that doesn't happen or even comes close.
Great. And so how does your company or your organization utilize Salesforce on a day-to-day basis? Which business functions do you utilize there?
Okay. All of the apps that we use are Salesforce based. There's over 20 that our sales and support team uses. And the system is built off of Salesforce. It's one of the major types of employers that you can come across. You can either work for Salesforce directly themselves, a small business that uses Salesforce, or a company that utilizes Salesforce to build their platform from. And that's where I work at.
Okay, great. And do you utilize any third-party apps?
So many.
What are some of your favorites, I guess, or what are the ones that you probably utilize the most?
Mainly for the users that we have, the sales teams have about 10 or 12 that they utilize. Mm-hmm. Our IT departments and engineers utilize apps like Asana. We use DocuSign. We use, there's so many.
So many you can't count, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And they all have different logins and requirements and things like that. Some of them are shared accounts and some of them are individual logins and some are incognito windows and some are regular. It's been really interesting to see how broad Salesforce is utilized in all of those apps for sales and services.
Oh, great. So tell me a little bit about your specific role and what your responsibilities are there.
So my job is considered an entry-level position of 0 to 3 years of experience, more like 0 to 1 year of experience. Prior to Supermoms, I was dabbling a little bit in Salesforce on Trailhead. Supermoms was the key in providing deadlines and building a CRM system, which was really, really helpful when I was talking in my interviews with Extra Hub. And day to day, it's mainly onboarding new users, so you're using all the screens and stuff that they teach you when you're working on super badges and when you're working on building the CRM with your users, as well as offboarding, moving those licenses in and out for the different users, having to rotate them. And then also we do troubleshooting tickets for operations and for the sales teams.
Okay, great. And what do you, what does a typical work week look for you? Are you fully remote, or how is your work life, I guess, right now?
Yep. My corporate office is located in Seattle and I'm located in Florida. So my role is 100% remote. The team is 100% remote now. They were based all in Seattle, but they've spread out over the country as the company has grown and expanded. Day to day, typically before like 1 o'clock Eastern time, I'm working on tickets that I've had or looking up documentation to update for processes and things like that, because it's always growing and changing. So that's a regular part of life. Then there's a meeting called a stand-up meeting where everyone on the team lets you know what they've got going on, any challenges that they have going on. Once every 2 weeks, we have a sprint meeting, which is where tickets come in. Some of them you can solve like in a day or two. Some of them involve more and they have to have more planning. Like when we built the CRMs, you have to design how you're going to implement that and what other areas it's going to affect. Those are part of the sprints as well. We have to designate who's going to take those type of projects on based on their experience levels. And then every other week we have like a sprint recap. So projects that are finished, we show and tell. So you could show your working pieces so that it can be explained to the client. And yeah, not too many meetings.
Okay.
About, well,
Good.
like the stand up is really short. It's only like 15 minutes. It's not
Mhm.
long. And then the other ones are a little bit longer because usually they're solving some problems that they weren't able to solve on their own.
Okay, great. And how long have you been in your role?
2 weeks.
Okay, so it's really, really new. I
A
was going to
whole
ask
lot.
you, I was going to ask you, what do you enjoy most about your job? But you probably maybe don't know everything yet. But I guess what maybe attracted you to that job, and what makes you most excited about, the role that you have right now?
Well, so far I really like that the company culture there really pays attention to what you tell them. So the items on your resume, like for example, I come from a corporate HR background,
Mhm.
specifically in onboarding and offboarding people
Yeah.
into an HRIS system, which is a little different. Um, so they utilize for that for me first because that system isn't automated yet. So they're working on that. And then once that's done, then we'll work on tickets. And what attracted me most to this job was really how concise and reasonable their job description was. It wasn't a half page of Apex triggers and architecture type items or things like that. It was all stuff that was covered in the Supermoms course. And they had a 30, 60, 90-day plan. So they were very ready and prepared to have me join the team as opposed to just trying to plug holes in the dam,
Right, right,
as some companies
exactly.
do, or try to have you do everything when you're like, I don't even have half this stuff listed.
Right, exactly. So let's talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned a little bit of Supermoms and, kind of how it prepared you. And what training cohort were you a part of again?
September 21.
Okay, September 21. And so how did you feel Supermoms, kind of prepared you for a role like this? And how does it prepare you, I guess, for an entry level Salesforce administrator role?
It prepared me for a lot of the jargon that's used in the industry. It prepared me a lot for expectations set and resources available to ask questions and ways to design things. Trailhead's great, but it puts everything in a super neat package where you're not really struggling too much to have it work. But the CRM system that Supermoms had us build is really more like a real work environment.
Mm-hmm.
Is really essential.
And do you feel like also, Supermoms prepared you kind of for that first interview, or how did it, prepare you for kind of jumping into that career?
I feel like the modules really helped with understanding what kind of company I want to look for and what kind of culture and then what kind of personality I am. The bad fits that happen in industries, it's usually because someone's trying to fit into something that is not really what they want to do with their life or what they want. Some people want a real work-life balance, like especially us parents. Some people want work as their social setting. So it depends on that. The modules were really helpful in understanding the scope of the type of workload that you want to have, and then being able to match that up into job descriptions as you were reading them. So they weren't so intimidating and looked like a wall of text and, oh, I'm never going to get in. It made them much more bite-sized pieces of what to look for in those job descriptions.
And you're referring to the, Booster Salesforce career modules? Okay, great.
Yeah. Yep.
And so what's next for you? Are you planning on, continuing on your Salesforce learning? Are you any certifications that you're looking forward to getting in the future?
I'm looking forward to the Admin 1 certification.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about trying it during my time with Supermoms, but between that and then my college courses and working and kids, I was like, oh, no.
Right,
So I'm going
right.
to try that over the summer now that I have more time available.
Okay.
And then probably more towards a CPQ specialization. It's super hot right now. Lots of businesses have lots of prices on things, and the prices have to be right. And that's
Right.
what you're doing all day long, So looking forward to more CPQ type stuff.
Okay, great. And so that was you brought up a good point, is you entered your job actually without having your certification down yet.
Yep.
Do you feel like there's a opportunity out there for super moms, or do you feel that are going through the training course to maybe get in a role before they're certified, or do you feel like it is more standard to have that certification before you get into the role, or is it just kind of depend on the jobs that are out there?
I think it depends on the industry that you're in and also the hiring manager if they are well versed in Salesforce themselves or not.
Okay.
The ones that are well versed in Salesforce, as like Salesforce Ben, or there's a couple people on LinkedIn, Ben Fuller. They
Mm-hmm.
talk deeply about, okay, you can take a test.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you know how to operate within the system.
Right.
Um, it doesn't mean you understand the concepts. You just memorize a bunch of stuff or certain outcomes. The test is the certification is useful if you're dealing with an industry that is not technical, like if it's medical or retail or things like that, where they're more focused on other things. In tech companies, I think you have a much better chance of getting into an entry-level role where they want to see not the paper in your hand, but that you can talk and ask questions and deal with the stakeholders and things like that.
Okay.
For those particular industries. But it's a great foot in the door if it's an industry that you're interested in that isn't massively technical.
Okay. Oh, great. And so do you feel like, so what was your interview like for the company? Was it, having to kind of prove those skills that you have, and or kind of maybe talk a little bit about what that interview process was like for you?
So the team was excellent. I had 3 rounds of interviews. The first one was basically describing what the company is like, what the role is, and what they're looking to do with the role. I was really excited in that the company is growing and there's lots of room for moving up in the company. Large established companies generally don't have that available. They want you just to stay in that role. So that was really exciting. And then the second interview was culture fit. So some companies are very, very serious about their job.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies do serious work, but they're not serious about themselves. So they want to make sure that that was a good fit, which is really, really attractive. And then the third part was meeting other team members, where they did ask some technical questions, like field locking security fields, and then how to create an email template, which we did in our CRM, which isn't necessarily covered in the test too much.
Okay.
So it gave them a good indicator of what would you do in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
There are companies that try to have massive testing. That's usually for higher level things. Good companies know that as an entry level position, you're going to know like a broad base, but not necessarily massive depth of any of those particular subjects yet.
Okay, good to know. I know there sometimes is some hesitation, I would say, from people that are, have gone through the course, but and looking to get into their first career, because they're a little worried about that interview process and what to expect in that role. So that's good to hear that from you. And so, lastly, just maybe is there any advice or maybe words of wisdom you could share with someone out there that is looking to kind of take that first step into training and looking at the Supermoms courses? What advice would you give to them and tell them if they're in that position right now?
The last few years have really changed people's roles and their priorities in life. Salesforce is an excellent opportunity to change your life. I make over double what I've made before, with really robust benefits and the life balance that I've been looking for my entire career. Supermoms gives you deadlines. They give you a mentor to work through all of your builds so that you understand what you're doing. They have weekly lectures where you can ask all of your questions. They have Slack forums where you can talk with your cohort about any of your assignments or job searches. The internships that they provide give excellent boots on the ground experience regarding how companies work, especially in a remote setting. All of those things will set you apart from the other types of programs that are out there, which are generally self-taught and just focus on an exam and that's it. But then you have no experience to speak of.
Mhm.
This gives you on two fronts. You have something that you can show that you built, and then you also have the internship where people can vet that you are a really good candidate for them.
Great. It's so good to hear. Thank you so much. Well, that kind of concludes the interview. I want to thank Darlene for sharing all of her knowledge and information and experience with us. If you're ready to take the next step, our two most popular courses are our administrator course, which Darlene was a part of, and our consultancy course. The administrator course is about 6 months of learning, which includes our coaching and recruitment support. There is mentorships, live mentorships, like Darlene had mentioned, where you are set up one-on-one with a mentor who has been in the Salesforce ecosystem for at least 2 years that will help you get through the course. We do also have a work experience project that happens about halfway through the course, so you get that hands-on experience and you're able to practice what you have learned. And our consultancy course is really for those that have a Salesforce administrator certification or have been involved in Salesforce and are looking to move on to more of a consultancy role. And that course is 12 weeks, and you still get access to one-on-one coaching and our career coaching and also our recruitment. Both of these courses are offered 4 times a year. And if you're interested in learning more about the administrator course, the best thing to do is download an admin pack, and it kind of goes over our syllabus and what we go over throughout those 20 plus weeks of study. Again, please visit our supermoms.org website and any of our socials. And feel free to book in a call with someone such as myself to talk about the courses and see if they're a good fit for you.